for some reason, it's the pain that stands out. And we're wired like this. It's a survival mechanism. So the problem is, here we are, we're hardwired to have these bundles and bundles of bad experience, difficult experiences in the, we call this the subcortical region. Yet our cortex keeps telling us, hey, this is your wife. You got to trust her. You went to that lecture on IMAGO, just trust. You read that book the other day about trust, just trust. And your cortex, the outer part of your brain, just says trust. And the lower part of your brain says, hey man, you know what's going to happen to you next. And since it's a survival mechanism, it preempts the cortex, okay? The only way to overcome this is an expression that we use all the time. It's called kavanah. It's used in a religious sense. It's used in a survival sense. IMAGO says if you want to change something, you always have to use kavanah. You have to think about things. You know, love doesn't come easy. You may feel it, but you'll feel all kinds of other things. But if you want to work it out, to take it into the right direction, you're going to have to think about it constantly. We don't always want to think. We just want to love. And it's nice, you know, but it doesn't solve the problem. The other problem is the luggage. We're all carrying luggage. You know, it reminds me, there's a difference between a baggage and luggage, right? I remember when I first went away to college. We're from Pittsburgh. So I got the beautiful suitcase, Samsonite, and I got so excited, just a beautiful piece of luggage. And I flew to Philadelphia, and I got off the plane, and in the airport there were a lot of suitcases, and a lot of Samsonite suitcases. I didn't look at the tag because I figured mine was the only really pretty suitcase. So I took a suitcase, I got to the dorm, I opened it up, and I saw insulin and syringes and all kinds of medication. I said, oh my gosh, I just killed somebody. So my suitcase, okay, my luggage turned into baggage. We're all carrying baggage. We don't know what's in our baggage until we get into a relationship with somebody and we start pushing each other's buttons, and then the suitcases start opening up, and we discover what's in our suitcase and what's in their suitcase as well. What I want to just mention now are 3 important stages that we all go through. These are stages in romance. It starts with romance, and it corresponds roughly to the stages that children go through, babies go through in the relationship with their primary caretaker, usually the mother. But when we say caretaker, it could be a grandmother, it could be an aunt, etc., etc. It's usually the mother. First of all, the baby is in a symbiotic phase with the mother, totally dependent on the mother, and everything is good. When the baby cries, it gets fed, or if the baby wants the diaper changed, it's changed. Not always, but there is the symbiotic relationship. After that comes what's called a need to individuate. We can call it the terrible twos. Some of you with kids know all kids go through the terrible twos. Maybe it's the terrible symbiosis. Well, symbiosis, I'm going to explain this in the romance stage, and I'll explain this in a second. The terrible twos will come because the child now starts saying, no, I don't want always to do what you want me to do. And so we call this the terrible twos. From the vantage point of the mother, it's terrible because the child's not doing what you want it to do. And after that, there's a need to become, a need to individuate. Roughly speaking, these are 3 stages. So what happens in our relationship, okay, when a man meets a woman? First of all, there's the romantic stage. Everything is beautiful. You know the song? Everything is beautiful in its own way, and everything is beautiful. The sunshine in the morning, and you look at her and you say, you know, you're the sunshine in the morning, and you're the stars at night, and you're the moonshine. And we have our own language. We have this gaga, we have this baby language that we speak among ourselves, and nobody understands it. And she says, I don't even have to eat because you're my food. You give me sustenance. All I have to do is see you. Just the fact that I know you're in this world makes me feel so good, and I'm full. And we can go to the zoo and look at animals all day and hold hands and throw peanuts, and it's amazing stage. You're everything. I don't need anything else in this world. You're everything to me. This is the romantic stage, okay? We're starstruck. We see nothing else but our spouses, and nothing could be better. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina, I know, in the morning. So that's the romantic stage. We all go through this romantic stage, and then one day it hits the fan, the proverbial fan. What happens? Well, according to Harville Hendricks, who founded an amazing theory of IMAGO, around 18 months or so, it could be 12 months, it could be 20 months or so, you come home one day and you say, well, things aren't exactly the way I like it. You don't make my steaks exactly the way I want it. I want it better done than that. And she says, wait a minute. I like it rare. She says, I can't stand it rare. It's like eating raw meat. And then all of a sudden, she says to you, and you know what? And you don't pick up your socks in the morning. You just throw them in your underwear. You throw in the corner, and you don't put your pants away. And then I say, and you chew gum. You come home and you start chewing gum, and you crack the gum. And I just need some peace of mind because I had a long day. And all of a sudden, these little things start to bother you and bother her. You wake up in the morning and you say, this is the man I married? This is all there is? Okay? This second stage, when we're what are we trying to do at this point? There's a discomfort. We're beginning to see that we're not symbiotic. This is called the power struggle. It will affect every relationship. It's like the terrible twos. This is the power struggle. We're trying to give our relationship a direction, a name, but the problem is that I want the relationship to be like my family. Like we used to celebrate Thanksgiving. No, Mimi didn't celebrate Thanksgiving. She comes from a European family. They didn't know what Thanksgiving was. But my family, everybody got together on Thanksgiving. Well, in her family, other holidays were important. So everybody wants to give a name to the relationship, but they want to give their name to the relationship because a relationship has to have a name. We're relating to each other. Unfortunately, we start relating to ourselves instead of to each other. So that's the second phase. That's called the power struggle. We're trying to combine the two worlds, and it is really, really hard because we come from very different, for example, I come from a very American family. She comes from a very European family. I'm raised on baseball and football, and she's raised on Europe and European values and family, etc., etc. Well, the third phase comes in. It's called tikkun, okay? Because you see, what happens what do you think is going to happen in the second stage in the power struggle? What are the possible things that are going to happen in the power struggle?
Disaster.
Could be a disaster, but how would you describe it? Usually isn't it?